You know, what happens when you take an ancient spiritual concept and try to power it with modern electronics? It's a pretty fascinating question, right? And it's right at the heart of this device, the 7-chakra activator. We're going to break down exactly how it claims to work, from its core philosophy all the way to its internal tech.
So to even begin to understand this device, we've got to start with an idea that's been around for thousands of years: chakras. Now, the source material describes these not as physical parts of your body, but as these spinning energy wheels that are just absolutely vital for our internal balance.
The name itself, chakra, well, it's Sanskrit for wheel, and that really is the core concept here. The idea is that there are 7 main energy centers, and they're constantly spinning, feeding energy to our organs. So the belief is, if you can keep these wheels turning smoothly, that's the key to your overall well-being.
So, how in the world do we get from an ancient concept to a modern gadget? Well, here's our roadmap. We'll start with the energy wheels themselves. Then we'll meet the activator. After that, we're going to peek inside at its core tech, decode the science of the frequencies it uses, and finally, we'll see how people are actually putting this thing to use.
All right, first up, let's dive a little deeper into these energy wheels. Why is this idea of keeping them in perfect balance so central to this whole philosophy? So, if balance is the goal, what throws everything off? According to the documentation, the culprits are, well, they're surprisingly modern. We're talking unhealthy diets, constant digital distraction, not getting enough sleep, and, yeah, a sedentary lifestyle. The claim is that these are the exact stressors that lead to an imbalance in our chakra.
And that brings us right to the proposed solution for our unbalanced modern lives. Let's meet the 7-chakra activator.
And here it is. This device is marketed as a fast-acting tool, and it's specifically designed to normalize our energy and emotional state. In short, its entire purpose is to try and restore that balance that modern life seems to disrupt.
So how does it supposedly do this? The product info says it uses this trio of technologies: light, sound, and magnetic frequencies. This combination, well, that's the key to its working principles, which we're about to get right into.
Okay, now for the really interesting part. Let's go inside the activator. We're going to get under the hood and see the technology that supposedly generates all this energy.
The device itself has a few key components you can see here, but it's what's inside this main white unit that really matters. At its heart is one very specific piece of technology.
And that key component is something called a Tesla bifilar coil. Now, this isn't just any old copper wire. It's a very specific design, actually patented by Nikola Tesla himself, which the creators claim is absolutely central to how this device spreads energy through the body.
This quote from the source material really gets to the heart of the claim. It says the coil converts energy into an electromagnetic field, with the ultimate goal of connecting the user to what it calls higher energies.
So the coil creates a field, but how is that energy actually delivered? That brings us to our next section, the science of frequencies. This is where we break down the light, the sound, and the waves. So the crucial point here is this. The whole theory is based on resonance. The idea is that every single cell in your body vibrates at a certain frequency, and when that vibration is off, it can lead to problems. This device claims it can deliver specific frequencies to kind of fine-tune those cells and bring them back into balance.
And this is where you see just how detailed it gets. The device doesn't just put out random frequencies. Nope, it's programmed with these highly specific values for each chakra. For instance, the sacral chakra gets a light frequency that's associated with creativity, while the heart chakra gets a sound frequency of 639 Hz, which is claimed to improve communication. It's like each energy center gets its own unique prescription.
So we've got light and we've got sound, but there's a third layer here. The documentation says that same Tesla bifilar coil also generates magnetic and electromagnetic waves, which adds yet another method of energy transfer to the mix.
And what are these magnetic waves supposed to do? While the source lists a whole bunch of claimed health benefits, everything from improving circulation and strengthening the immune system to reducing pain, sleeping better, and even stimulating vitamin D production.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the how. Now for our final section, putting it to use. What are the actual practical applications for a device like this?
At a high level, the device really has 3 main intended uses. First, pretty obviously, to activate all 7 chakras. Second, to enhance meditation sessions. And third, a more abstract goal, to transmit what the source calls high vibrational energies from the universe directly to the user.
And then you get into some very specific and, unique claimed uses. The material mentions it can be used for activating drinking water, with the claim that it can purify water by removing negative memories. It also notes the device can be effective in helping with wound curing.
So with all this complex theory, you might be wondering, how easy is it to actually use? Well, the operation is surprisingly simple. It's just a standard USB-C charge, you wait for the little red light to stop blinking, and a single switch turns it on. All that technology we just discussed gets activated with one simple slide.
Ultimately, the whole design philosophy is summed up by this one phrase from the source. It's meant to be a neutral diffuser. What this means is it's designed to make any energy input consistent and gentle, making it suitable for a really wide range of wellness practices.
And that brings us right back to where we started. We've just explored a device that's trying to translate an ancient spiritual framework into the language of modern physics. And it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. As these two worlds continue to collide, will technology like this become a new kind of key for unlocking traditional forms of well-being?